Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. This is the video many of you have been waiting for, many of you have been requesting. Today we got in the parts that hopefully are what we need so that we can repair the Mercedes sunroof. For those of you that need a quick update, we aren't sure where we're at. We'll open this up in a minute, but the sunroof obviously doesn't close all the way, and the reason being is the clips inside that connect the roof to the guide rails. Well, they're broken. They were completely destroyed. They were just like chewed up by something. I don't know. Anyhow, before we get too far into this, quick disclaimer. And with that out of the way, let's get the instructions printed off. Let's get this thing opened up, check out what we've got to work with. And we'll see how far we get here. All right, so I think I showed you guys this before. Here is what's left of what was in there. This is what's left of the old pieces, and they are very greasy. Hopefully there's enough grease in there. We don't need to worry about having grease for these things. But there's the old pieces, and here's the new ones. So they look like they're the right size. They look like they're the right thing. I'm not sure what this piece is though. What are you? Hello. What? Alright, so the instructions that I'm basically going to use for this come from, we wound up picking up one of the repair manuals. Wow, it's so glossy, it just like is sliding right off. I got one of the repair manuals, repair manuals, picked it up off eBay. Kind of the closest thing that I feel like I'm finding to what this repair consists of is this remove install panoramic sunroof drive guide rail. I'm really hoping this is truly the closest thing. I mean, we've got pictures of what looks like the rails and stuff. We do have risk of death caused by parts conducting high voltage, so that's a party. And yeah, we're gonna kind of be winging this, but following these instructions at the same time. So I think the first thing we need to do though is get the roof open. So we're gonna get the roof open and we're gonna check this out again and try to figure out where that's supposed to go, because it's squishy and felty, and I don't know where it came from. I know it came from inside, but I don't know what. Alright, so we've gotten the main bolts that hold the roof to kind of what I just call the support beams, I guess. Kind of the pieces that, the guides go on, and that all kind of slides together and stuff. I've got that secured now, so I'm pretty sure I should be able to basically just slide that thing around, but I'm going to take a look at the other side, figure out how it's all lined up. Here's what I'm hoping we'll be able to do. I'm hoping we'll be able to take we're just going to call it a post, that connects to the window, and I'm hoping we'll just be able to kind of stick the guides alongside it and basically just twist everything into place and just kind of rotate it in, and it'd be a super easy fix. Obviously it'd be a cheap fix, and so long as it actually holds, I think we'll be good to go. But we gotta check the other side first and make sure everything works the way I'm hoping that it really does. Alright, so it turns out everything inside here is much more complex than I was thinking it actually was. So if we look inside here, you know, we've got the post here that connects to the window, you can see. Well, it turns out at the bottom there where those guide clips go, that actually has another pin in it that is connected to part of what I can only assume helps pull this window forward and back. Which begs the question then, obviously, I mean, I'm not just going to be able to twist it into place, which is really unfortunate because that would have made for a nice easy fix. Now what it also means is that I can't just grab that thing and pull it. Alright, so our squishy friend, it turns out, goes behind the post, and I don't entirely understand how it stays with the post, but it goes behind the post. So we're going to put it behind the post. Somehow. So to start with, these are a little bit different than the ones that are, you know, original on my C400. The tops here have a groove in them, but on the original, part of this groove has like a flat piece on it. So it's, I think it's like the inside is rounded out, but the edge is flat. So your outside edges. However, there is a, sorry, you go like this. I guess this would be the outside edge. I think it was flat if I remember from the other side. Here's something that might help us though. I don't know that this is actually going to work, but since these are curved, like they're smaller inside on the bottom than they are the top, you can see that. I think what that will possibly do is allow us to stick them on and then push it down. So I'm really hoping that it will indeed allow us to push it down. And if it does let us push it down, then this might be really easy. Hopefully. JK, that's not pushing down at all. It's not happening. Alright, so my sister just helped me take the roof off. Here's what we're dealing with. So, I wish it was this. This is the piece that I bought. These are the pieces that I accidentally bought that are not what I need. And if this is all that I needed, oh my gosh, this would be such an easy fix, but it's not. So, we've got a better angle now. Let me show you what we're dealing with. Inside here, alright, so you know, we've got our rail here. So here's our rail. Focus, dude. So we've got our rail, we've got our broken bubby that's got, you know, I stuck this just on the side. We can just pull it right back off. It's not doing us any good being on here right now. Anyways, that's where these broke off of. And you can see I stuck the little felty back in behind it here. But we're connected to like this whole mechanism that I did not anticipate us being connected to at all. Oh. Is that bent? We're going to check the other side. I don't know if that's supposed to look like that or not. unless there's like a release somewhere that will let me slide this all the way up. And even if we could slide all the way up, I probably do have to remove the headliner. If this right here, see, that feels like body though. I think that's body, and if that's body, then even removing the headliner doesn't give me access. The only thing I can think of right now, unfortunately, is having to slide this whole thing all the way up to the end, having that out of the way, pushing basically this over the edge so that you can then stick the clips on and then slide it back on, and then, you know, slide it all the way back to wherever it needs to be. But then there might be a ton of calibration stuff that I don't even know what to do about. So, yikes. All right, with the cover removed, we are now at the step that I really don't want to do. Actually, we might have one step before that. So from here, we have to, let's see here, we have to remove the wind deflector, and then that's when things start getting crazy, because we have to remove the wind deflector, which, you know, is this front piece up here. So we have to remove that, and after we remove the wind deflector, we have to remove the, let's see here, we have to remove the roof lining and the headliner, which I think is more or less all the same stuff. And I am not looking forward to that at all. My hands are greasy. All right, so we've gotten the wind deflector removed. This one was a little bit more tricky, just trying to figure it out. Once you figure it out, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's also filthy, so we might try cleaning it. But basically, you know, you've got a couple clips on the inside here that you just kind of take a screwdriver and you just kind of pull up on these sides, and it basically just pops right out. You kind of flip everything back. I just pulled out the metal pieces, so it made it a little bit easier. And then basically what you do is you just kind of shimmy it back a little bit so that it's set all the way back. You just kind of get leverage on the front of it, lift it up a little bit, and you just push it forward and it just pops right out. So hopefully it all installs just as easily, you know, going back in. Looks like when it's out, it's got something that keeps it from folding all the way back up, but there's that. And with that, guys, we are on to trying to remove the headliner. The good news is it looks like we just have to expose enough that we can get access to the screws on just this right side, so it doesn't look like we actually have to pull down the whole thing, which thank goodness, because I don't want to remove the whole thing. No. It's taken about an hour, but I finally gotten the visor removed. No joke, it has seriously taken about an hour. And I have been mildly distracted during that time. but getting off this inside piece has got to be about the biggest pain in the butt in the world. I wound up using a stupid can opener or a bottle opener to finally get this stupid thing open. I couldn't get the right angle and leverage, and basically you have to not worry about the fact that you might be breaking something, and you gotta just like get it in there, and you just keep torquing it, and it finally popped out. So now we just need to remove the rest of this, and then we get to start trying to tackle the handles. Yay. All right, we got the other side out now. So we've got both sides out. I don't think these clips actually like come out. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. We're gonna have to find out, because I'm not exactly sure how we put everything back up there if they're not going to come out. I guess we'll tackle that when we get there. Anyhow, so I believe now we do need to remove the handles. And yeah, once again, gotta pull these tabs out. There's probably screws, I'm guessing. And then from there, we've got to start figuring out how we pull this back. Because we just have to pull this back to about here. And we should be able to get to all the screws that we need. We don't need any more exposed than that. Although this headliner is feeling solid. So here's to hoping we don't have to take all this down. Well, guys, the attempt has been made, but I think we're calling it quits here. Here's the issue we're running into. We've got, we got most of the stuff detached that, we heard we need to get detached. But basically, you've got to take apart all of the A pillars, all the B pillars. I think those are C pillars, all the C pillars. And you've got to like take all those apart, get all the trim off. That way you can get to the headliner. You've got to remove the mirror, the radar stuffish. You got to pull this stuff down so that you can move all of this just so you can get to the screws for that rail. And the only way we can find so far that we can get those two little clips back on is to be able to loosen the rail so that we can lift it up. And, by lifting it, we can then hopefully, which we haven't even figured out how to disengage the, I don't know what you want to call it, kind of the drive cable, I guess, how to disengage that from the actual motor. So we can pull that all the way up to the end and off, so we can stick those on and then slide it all back on. I mean, that's the only thing I could come up with, and this is my only car, so it's not like I can take the whole thing apart. And it's what, 9:20 right now at night, so it's not like I can take this all apart, leave it for a day or two, and just slowly take it apart until it's apart enough that we're able to maybe even get it fixed and to work. So I think what's going to happen right now, I think what I'm going to do is I think we're going to put everything back together. From there on probably Monday, I'm going to go to Mercedes and talk with them, because I have to return the incorrect parts that I bought. So we got to return those. And at the same time, I might see if one of the service guys will come out and check out, how this looks, and point out, like, this looks like it's the only thing that's broken. What's actually involved? Because even if the entire rail needs to be replaced, that rail shouldn't be a $700 piece. And I can double check that too. But I mean, whatever they were telling me before with it being $700 worth of parts just seems outrageous. It should not be that expensive. There's just no way what's required to fix that, unless the issue is way bigger than what we're seeing, is more than maybe $100. So talk with them, try to figure out, what's actually involved in fixing this. I just took apart part of the car myself. I get that labor is going to be expensive for this, because, if you've really got to take all of this stuff apart, I've been at this since like 3 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock now. Obviously I got stuck on stuff for a while, which is stuff that they won't get as stuck on, but I think mistakes were made, guys. Mistakes were made. Alright guys, it is now Monday. We are heading up to Mercedes right now. We got the parts we need to take back, and we've got to figure out what the heck this thing's going to take to get fixed. And if it's even going to be worth fixing. So let's get up there. Alright, so we've made it up here. We're going to get this brought inside and hopefully figure out what the heck is going on. We have learned the damage and it's not pretty. So here's the damage. So good news is I got one of the technicians to come out. We did take a look at it. Bad news is it is a very expensive repair. So here's kind of the breakdown. Unfortunately, even though just those little plastic pieces broke, the technician agrees it sucks. Unfortunately, that means you have to replace the entire rail. I'm like 95% sure you just have to replace the one rail because that's the only side that broke. You know, the other side's fine. I'm pretty sure you can replace just one rail. But in order to replace that one rail, you have to drop the headliner. That's the only way to get to the screws that attach that rail to, you know, the roof of the car. So that means you have to, you know, one of the technicians here, he straight up pulls out the front seats because it's just easier that way. You have to take apart all of the pillars so that you can get to everything you need to be able to drop the headliner. You then have to drop the headliner, at which point, if I remember the instructions correctly, you will be able to get to each of those screws. But you know, that means you're also dealing with stuff with the motor and just, oh my gosh, so much stuff. So the rail itself is $340. If the quote for the service time was correct, then that's 4.5 hours, which they said was like $700. That is $1,000 to fix it. If both rails do need to be replaced, then like some people in the comments have said, you know, we're winding up at $1,500 basically after tax and everything, if not more, to get it fixed. That's what it's going to take. So we may review the instructions some, just make sure we really have a good firm grasp on what's involved. I mean, the instructions for this have subsets of instructions, and those subsets have subsets, because it's like, you know, you've got to get the roof back, get it off and stuff, and then it's like, oh, well, you need to drop the headliner. Well, to drop the headliner, they talk about pulling the seats out, pulling the mirror down, pulling the pillars apart, and it's just like, have at least a day set aside. At least a day. So we're going to go back to my parents' house at this point. We're going to get the car washed up because, you know, it's got handprints all over it from working on it the other day now. So we're going to get that done, get it cleaned up, and I guess we'll see where we go from there. You know, we'll talk about kind of different prospects, options with everybody. Be like, so, does anyone want to do this with me? Kind of thing. And yeah, it's just going to be a grand old time. Yeah. Also, I have noticed, if you don't drive in Sport Plus, you actually get good gas mileage. Like, I was pulling in and it said I was getting 30 and I had it in Sport, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I should drive in just Sport more often. Like, okay, for these streets right here and stuff, sure, Sport Plus for city driving. But once you get on the highway, let it actually get into 7th gear, because that's almost 50% more miles per gallon. That is more than 50. Wow, no, it's about 50. About 50. Alright guys, and with that, I think that'll wrap up this video. Hopefully that gets you a bit more informed than you were. Like I said, we're going to consider options and stuff. We are going to revisit this. But you know, if you really want to see me do this, smash that thumbs up button. Let me know that, you know, or in the comments, let me know you want to watch this be attempted, so you can get an idea of just how grueling and ridiculous it absolutely is. I will probably solicit help, but we will see. Anyways, yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, especially if you want to see me attempt this myself. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing if you like the content. If you want to see more, if you want to see, you know, the Lambo from time to time, it's Dad's, it's not mine. I barely drive it, so, you know. Anyhow, I will see you guys next time. Keep on keeping on. So long.